Welcome to the Success Revenue Podcast, the only podcast in the Middle East that brings you leaders in customer success, account management, sales, and go-to-market to share ideas, perspectives, and valuable learnings on how to successfully drive revenue, delight customers, and take it to the next level.
We're your host. I'm Hiram Sa, the CEO of RevSetter, the modern customer management platform. And I'm my lovely co-host, Ivy Ferrero, with me, CS executive, keynote speaker, and advisor. And we couldn't be more excited to bring you a long list of great guests every week this season, including today's guest, which is someone that has a long experience, both as a founder, as an executive, working in larger companies and startups. And she brings a ton of experience from the customer engagement, customer success space, where she's working on some really cool stuff that she'll share with us today. Amongst the takeaways during today's episode, we'll speak about the impact of in-app engagement and in-app engagement-driven workflows, how they can benefit the customer and the organization. We're also going to talk about meeting your customers where they are at the right moment. Really interesting stuff around that from today's guest. And one other takeaway that's super interesting from this conversation is the idea of how CES will continue growing in the future and how different functions will come together, and in particular, how AI will impact the tech and the development of CES and engagement with the customer. So very excited about today's guest, Ivy, and conversations. She has experience from the India market, which is massive, entering the Middle East market as she's doing now with her current company, and kind of seeing that transition. But yeah, very excited. Before all that, how you been, Ivy? Good to see you again.
Good to see you again. It's been really good. It's been a busy year so far. It's been only we've got 2 more weeks until the end of the year, and it's feel like there's a lot of things happening with our customers, and there's a lot of things happening in the world in general. So I can't wait to see what the next upcoming months are going to be looking like. How about you? Have you been extremely busy with clients?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's been very busy with clients and partners, and just in general, always end of the year, start of the year, transition in between, always staying busy. So I've been doing some fair amount of traveling, and we've had a lot of work done, just especially on our partner side. I feel like that's a big thing for RevSetter this year, but also just in general, being in the Middle East region, there's a lot of partner networks, a lot of opportunities in doing that. So been knee deep in agreements and negotiations and processes for the last few months, and I feel like maybe hopefully getting to a little bit more of a calmer period. But I always say that, and then something else pops up, and the period doesn't ever become calm. So we'll see kind of where we are.
Yeah.
You know how it is.
It's interesting. And, I don't know, has anybody asked you what is your word for the year?
My word.
I'll go first.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I'll talk about it.
For me, the word is collaboration. I feel like there's going to be a lot of projects where I'm going to be collaborating with a lot of different people.
Yeah.
You and I already have so many things going on
Yes.
as far as projects. We've got the podcast. We have the CS Academy as well.
Yep.
Stay tuned.
Exactly right. Yep.
But yeah, I would say that's the first word that comes for me. What's the word of the year for you?
That's a great question. I actually haven't gotten the question, so I don't have a word prepared for you. But I would say for me, probably it would be innovation. I think this year we'll see a lot of innovation across the board. I think, as you know, I'm super excited about just kind of agentic AI and AI networks, and kind of how we can better leverage that in technology. But I think this year, kind of just looking back at the last 2 years of development and how quickly innovation has been, I think where we're starting 2025, where we'll end it, we'll feel like 10 years from the past in terms of the speed of innovation. So yeah, I'll probably use that as my word for the year.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Innovation. Yeah, I can't wait to hear more about The guests that we have today, I'm
Mhm.
really excited to see how they're leveraging AI. I don't know, it's the hot thing to talk about right now, but I do
Yes.
believe that the easier we can understand AI and the easier we can adapt to AI,
Mhm.
the more we're gonna get from it in terms of productivity and actually focusing our expertise and our time to things that drive the most ROI. So yeah, so
Yeah.
do do
Couldn't
we
agree
go
more.
ahead and bring her in?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it. If you're ready, I'll let's bring her in, and we'll jump right in. All right. I'm super excited to have today's guest on with us. And I'd like to introduce Jahnavee, founder and CEO of KaleHQ, an AI driven company that really focuses on providing great experiences in app and engagement for customers. Dig a lot more into that. And Jahnavee has a long experience in the space. She's an ex-founder as well. And this is her second company. She's developed and she was a founder of a company in the Web3 space. She's a designer, techie turned CS person and turned into a founder and executive and CEO. So brings a lot of experience from across the board of the company side, from design to product to customer success to executive leadership across startups and larger companies. Um, Jahnavee is based in India and Indian market, and is also has close ties to the Middle East market, or as they're expanding towards this opportunity. I'm super excited to have you on board today, and to kind of pick your brain on a lot of different things, customer success related, AI and engagement. So, welcome to the podcast. It's great to have you on board.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Heather and Ivy. It's so nice to be here. Thanks for taking time out to do this. Excited to chat.
Awesome. Awesome. So, I know, I mean, we have a bunch of questions that we want to dig into here with you as we're talking to kind of you joining the show. But why don't we just start easy? I kind of mentioned in the intro, you've done a lot of stuff, big companies, startups, product sales. Can you just give us a little bit of your background and kind of your overall journey to date? That would be a great start, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think I've always been a creative person. So when I started out, I started as a designer, and design actually didn't exist, like 10-ish years ago. It was only advertising design. There was nothing like UI, UX. So actually, first we started in advertising. And then that kind of evolved into, working with Freshworks and ChargeBee. I think it's been really cool for me because I've done design on both sides of the spectrum. So I've done on the GTM side where I work very closely with marketing teams, sales teams, and I've also done on the product side, which is just like how do we put out the best customer experience. So I think that really led me to have a very overall um, exposed view of like what does it mean to like design things that people actually want to use that makes their life easier that they love using.
Yeah.
um yeah, so that's a little bit about like my founder journey.
All right. Awesome. That's
Yeah.
great. And can you just tell us a little bit more about your current, so you Kale, right? Kind of tell us about kind of the company, your role there, but kind of what you guys are trying to accomplish with Kale.
Yeah, absolutely. So you know like we've of course pivoted from what we started building.
Yeah. Like everyone
uh
else does in the beginning. Natural.
exactly right. It's not really a company till you pivot at least once or twice. So yeah, I mean, so I have a co-founder, Kishore. He's also based in Chennai. The whole team's based out of here. We started building Kale actually in Jan of 2023. We had a hypothesis that post the pandemic, buying behavior had changed, right? This whole concept of selling aggressively was not there. Buyers were more informed. If we wanted to buy software, we'd go online, we'd look at G2 reviews. We want to make our own informed decisions.
Mm.
So we were like, hey, but the entire sales tech stack is still very seller centric. It's not very buyer friendly. So the first version of Kale was actually meant to solve that. It was like an AI buyer enablement digital sales room tool. And of course, coming from a design thinking background, me and Kishore like built out the first scrappy version in 3 months, launched it, got
Wow.
customers on it. I'm still very proud of that product. I still, every time I look at it, we have it in cold storage. Every time I look at it, I'm still very happy. Um, It's just that I think as a business, there was just so much going on in sales tech at that time, right? Like there was just multiple things. There was like CRM, hygiene tools, there was like meeting recorders. So we felt it was going to be very hard to scale it. And that was the feedback that we got from investors and customers as well. But the silver lining is we had spoken to like so many revenue leaders in customer success because we also wanted to solve for that sales to CS handoff. And we realized is retention is a now problem, right? This whole thing about buyers, their expectations changing, that translates into the post sales experience. And that tech stack is very, very nascent. People are still figuring it out, but they want to, like, of course. Sorry about
All good, all good.
yeah. Murphy's Law, right? I'm happy it happened in the beginning at least.
Yes.
Um,
No worries.
yeah. So basically, we found that the sales tech stack wasn't there and there was a much bigger white space. So that's how we
Mm.
pivoted to the current version of Kale, and we're solving specifically for customer engagement and retention, right? How do we engage customers better right when they need it, very personalized to their needs? So that's the whole Kale journey in a nutshell.
Fun. That's awesome.
Wow, that is super cool.
Yeah.
And Genevieve, you have a lot of experience in on your domain in India.
Yeah.
And how would you say what are your thoughts of basically of what you're doing that your domain within India and how that can translate in the Middle East region?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one thing I think I'm very personally excited about is how there is a huge boom in SaaS in the Middle East now. And I think the penetration there is just so much. And I feel like because of that, customer success is also evolving more into a revenue first function. And people are starting to really understand that that's critical, right? It's not, especially with people talking about profitable, efficient growth, not growth at all costs. People are like, hey, we work so hard to get these customers, we have to retain them. We also have to cross sell and upsell. So I think both in India and the Middle East, I see that people are honestly looking at CS as a revenue driver function. They're taking that a lot
Yeah.
more seriously. I think another thing that is common is there's still a lot of personal relationship connection based part of it. It's not just completely, you can't just do completely self serve and automation. I don't think that's there. I definitely feel there needs to be a human being that really owns accounts and maintains that relationship and really guides customers through the whole thing. I think both of these markets are extremely mobile first. So I think we have to kind of work the CS stack around that and do something with WhatsApp integrations as well, because we have to kind of enable customers to kind of meet them where their customers want to talk to them, right? So I think those are some really key similarities that I see. Also, I think culturally, there's just so many different regions, so many different languages, and there's a cultural context to it. You can't just set up a one size fits all experience and expect that to really work. So I think those are some things that I really see in common as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, I think you explained it really, really well. And it almost seems like it's a given, no? They think that a lot of companies think that because a customer buys a product,
Yeah.
then they're going to easily renew and nobody really has to work on that account. So I do believe 100% that customer success is a second revenue engine.
Yeah.
And Genevieve, with all the experience that you've had, you've been in different roles and designing and whatnot. What would you say? I mean, I can also see that you have a great personality and that you are great with people. But what would you say fascinates you the most about your current role at Kel?
So basically, as you know, the GTM co-founder role, right? And I also co-own product with my co-founder because, of course, being the designer
Wow.
in me, I'll be like, I don't want too many degrees of separation from that. I think it's interesting because every day is like there will be dumpster fires to put out, but then there are also like small wins that make you like really happy. Um, and I think initially I used to think about, my legacy or like doing something worthwhile is kind of like painting the Sistine Chapel, which actually took like so many years and years and years. And then now I realize, no, it's not really like that. Like every day you have an opportunity to do something that you enjoy or that you're proud of. So even if there is like a customer escalation where something is broken and people are panicking, I still kind of look at that as an opportunity to bring joy into my day and laugh about it. So I think that's what I really enjoy about this role. Yeah.
Wow, amazing! It must be a huge accomplishment.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely fun. Not a lot of people, I think, have the opportunity to wake up and actually actively work on trying to create something that, they envision. So I'm definitely very grateful for the opportunity.
Very cool. Yeah, it's definitely a journey, and as a multiple time founder, and now being in this space, which is super exciting. It's like you said, a whirlwind of things that you're always doing different things and kind of figuring things out as you go. But as establish the product and the customer base and you start scaling as you guys are doing, it's a really fun time to really kind of get into things with customers and kind of developing that aspect, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So I was curious, can I hear you speak about, some of the differentiations and similarities between the regions, but also kind of some of the ethos of what you guys do. And I would say kind of you and the team at Kale, you guys have really embarked on a kind of ambitious journey, right? To help CSMs get closer to their customers,
Right.
in-app engagement wise, but doing that at scale, right? And doing that at the right moment where they need to meet them, like you said. Can you just tell us a little bit more? How do you think about that concept, right? Meeting them where they are at the right time, and especially at scale. And if you're a
Yeah.
smaller organization or a bigger one, there's a lot of differentiations there how you can do it. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean that's a really good question, and I think the first part of that is to just think about how buyer expectations have just changed, right? The buyer who's buying software today is also the same buyer who's buying a Netflix, and somewhere unconsciously they want the same experience in their B2B journey, post sales journey. And I think the table stakes for organizations and especially customer success teams is so much more right now because the concept of personalization has changed. It's no longer, hey, I'm onboarding Acme, whether you're a high value customer or a long tail customer, and I just set up the first digital touch point to reflect your name and a little bit of product
Right.
data. Won't think that's going to cut it anymore, right? If you want to win today, you have to basically contextually engage all of the users in Acme Inc. So the way Ivy might experience the product to the way you might experience it may be completely different. You may be the business persona and she may be the champion or the power user. So how can I as a CSM make sure that both of you experience the product contextually for the reason that you actually bought it for? So at Kale, what we really want to do is we take the insights from sales, right? Why has this customer bought this? What do they want it for? What are they trying to solve it for? And then the CSM can actually personalize each of the digital touch points. So when you go into the product for the first time, the way you experience it would be completely different from the way Ivy experiences it. So it's not just reactive, it's also like proactively setting it
Mm,
up.
yeah.
And then after that, it's like guiding you guys along the way. So for example, your onboarding went super smooth, but let's say Ivy is still struggling with something. If I'm your CSM, I can jump onto Kale and I can send you a video engagement saying, good job. I can gamify it. I can say, hey, this is amazing. Let's share this playbook with the rest of your teammates. And if Ivy is struggling with one particular thing, I can say, hey, Ivy, I'm your dedicated CSM. I see that you're struggling with this. Here's what you can do about it. If this isn't solving it, jump on a one-on-one call with me. And this goes and hits her on the
Wow.
screen when she's in the product. Not over email, not over a phone call, not over a QPR at the end of the quarter, right there, right? There's no
Mm.
context switching.
Yeah.
So that's why it's very ambitious, but that's exactly what we're trying to solve with Kale.
Yeah. Now that's so interesting. And I mean, I think uh, that's really the beauty of it, right? Like when you succeed with that and creating those uh, moments in time with the customer that you can scale, right, and automate, and you, like you said, you help
Yeah.
each user with what they need contextually. So,
Yeah.
but that brings me to kind of my kind of a follow up on that. Then, Because I imagine you and I have had conversations about this before, right? You mentioned that the sales input in terms of why they bought it, and
Yeah.
the customer data that's available, the different triggers and things that you see with use from a user perspective and otherwise. Um, I imagine to do this at scale across many users, across many accounts, and one individual CSM, you
Yeah.
guys create these workflows. But how do you see AI's role play into this? Because I assume AI is a big part of being able to scale this effectively for an organization.
Yeah.
Where does AI come into this, and how do you see it developing further?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question again. I think the way we look at AI is definitely like a people enabler. So, how can we basically make the life of the CSM better? How can we improve their productivity so that they can do what they do best, right?
Exactly.
Um, I think one critical thing is, of course, the data piece, which I think you guys are solving beautifully, which is as a CSM, if I'm able to get data from the multiple sources, right, from like a marketing POV to a sales POV, to a product like product usage POV. So that I'm actually going off of accurate data, whereas rather than looking at a very generic health score that might not even give me a full picture of what's actually happening, I think AI will be a key driver there. And the second, the way we are looking at it in Kale is how do we basically improve um, the productivity of the CSM? Like, how can they create these workflows with very little effort? So, the really cool thing that we're working on with Kale in terms of generative AI is if you're a CSM, you don't have to even make the flows anymore. You can go in and you can say, hey, Kale, I'm onboarding, let's say Acme, it's a fintech company, set up an onboarding flow for me. And Kale will actually already be context aware. It will go into the CRM or the source of truth,
Yeah.
and it'll say that Acme was onboarded because of XYZ reasons. These are the user personas. It will have a people map again saying that this is the business persona, these are the user personas, and it will generate all the flows with the digital twin video of the CSM. So then it's instant, right? It's scalable.
Yeah.
If I create something for fintechs in my Kale dashboard, I can share it with the rest of my team with, so that way the knowledge is easy to share across the team, right? The winning playbooks are repeatable. So I think those are two very key ways that AI will definitely impact this journey.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Interesting. And Genevieve, what do you think about does I guess there's two questions I want to follow up with.
Yeah.
Number one, can Kale do predictive analysis? And if not, is that where you guys are heading towards to?
That's a really good question. And this is something that like me and the team kind of fight about a lot. Right now, I think one of the biggest things that we are going with our thesis is that people are the best predictive analytics, right? They have gut instinct.
Yeah.
They know that this is what I would do for this customer. They can even sometimes even understand that this customer is going to churn just because they have so much experience, right? And intuition.
Yeah.
But I know that that's not very scalable. So right now we're completely, anti-automation, where we put people in the center and we say, you do what you do best. We're just going to enable you to do it faster. You don't have
I
to go
love
to
that.
product team or engineering team and wait on it, right? You can just deploy instantly. But I think eventually what we will do with all of this data is that we will be able to predict where Kale can suggest that, hey, if XYZ is happening with a customer, this is the workflow you should send, right? And maybe you
Yeah.
can customize it this way. So I think definitely in the future we'll embrace that. But right now we're people first.
Okay, got it. Yeah, it completely makes sense. And Genevieve, based on what you have seen,
Yeah.
what would you say are some of the challenges that customers, maybe in some other spaces, are facing when it comes to improving the customer experience?
Yeah, I mean, I think two very key things that I can think of. I think everyone has suddenly woken up to the fact that they need to do a lot more with less. And just burdening CS teams is not going to help, right? One is you need to
Yeah.
clearly differentiate what CS needs to own, and it can't just be, okay, when someone's going to churn, it's CS's problem. No, it needs to be retention as a team sport. Everyone really needs to align together, right? From marketing to sales to product to CS. Um, and that sounds amazing when we talk about it, but it's just so hard to like translate it in an organization. And I think that is something that everyone's not struggling with, but taking time to figure out.
Yeah.
How do we do this? How do we make the processes work together? How do we make the tech stack work together? And I had a very interesting chat with the revenue leader last week where they were like, we're just going to put it on a whiteboard first. Get everyone in a room, put it on a whiteboard first, because that's the only way we can approach it. So I think that's something that everyone's struggling with. And I think the second is, how do we demonstrate value to customers? Because I think value is not going to cut it anymore. It's about actual ROI. If they bought
Mm.
a software for a particular reason, okay, value is great, but are they hitting their ROIs? Like, are they able to, make an impact on the bottom line of their business? And if not, then they're
Yeah.
just going to chuck the software away, right? So I think, how can we get them there? I think these are the two biggest
Yeah.
challenges that I see right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and uh, it's a key thing there. I think you talked about before, the kind of customer success, trying to define some of those things, right? And like, it's a
Yeah.
little bit kind of all over the place. And you tie in customer experience, and like you said, companies, especially I think in our regions here, speaking about Middle East and India and kind of similar regions, we're still developing these processes and these strategies. There's a lot of that work to be done.
Yeah.
Still kind of mapping things out, whiteboarding it, and getting to the truth of it, right? Um, in a large extent. But kind of, well, I mean, tying into that, then looking at where we are today, obviously, when customer success perspective, there's a lot of areas around that. But if you look at kind of the crystal ball, the years ahead here, the coming
Yeah.
couple of years in India and the Middle East region, which is very similar kind of dynamically when it comes to customer success.
Yeah.
Where do you see customer success heading? Where are we going in the coming years?
I mean, I think absolutely people will be like, customer success is a key revenue driver. There's no question about it. Right now,
Yeah.
there's like, is customer success like, okay, how is it though? Like, people are still trying to justify it and argue about it and then justify the tool spend, right? Because mostly people go crazy buying sales tools and like marketing tools, but they're very like, still opening up the budgets for CS tools.
Yeah.
I think that won't be a question. I think people will just be like, yes, we really need to invest in CS, right? Processes,
Yeah.
people, tools. It is a revenue driver. There's no doubt about it. I also feel like the line between customer support, customer success, and experience is blurring. And I don't think it's going to be three separate things. I think it'll just be like one thing. And I
Mm.
think customer success individuals will just be, I think in terms of support, maybe AI and automation and agentic frameworks will take care of all of that. And I think human beings as CSMs will just be very, very strategic revenue drivers on
Mm.
working very deeply with people, because at the end of the day, people will only like buy from people or also want that relationship, right? Like, I mean, bots are great, agents are great, but sometimes you just want to talk to a human being. You just want to
Yeah.
tell them, you know, this is what I'm struggling with. This is what I bought this for. Like, how can we get there? Let's work together. So I think that's where human beings will really shine as strategic revenue drivers, where they'll get to know the customers really well, and AI will support them, of course, by giving them very deep, product usage data, um, predictive analytics, all of that stuff. But that's kind of where I see the future heading.
That's super interesting. I did a follow up on that just because you mentioned the agentic kind of frameworks and that concept. I think that's going to be, and we talked about this in the past and other
Yeah.
episodes and you and me as well. But that's
Yeah.
where I think a lot of the explosion of AI will happen this year coming up is around the agentic frameworks and systems. It seems to me kind of what you guys do with the in-app, and that lends itself to be a place where kind of agents, whether that's an avatar of the CSM or whatever the framework is around it, might be an effective kind of complement to the human CSM's interactions with the customer.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts around that? Just curious.
Yeah, no, absolutely. See, at the end of the day, as human beings, we're going to fall sick. We're going to take holidays. We need sleep, right? We can't be around for customers 24/7.
Yeah.
So I think what we were thinking about this in terms of a KL perspective is, Of course, everyone's playing around with agents. It's open now, right? Everyone can build it for different use cases. I think what would be really cool is context aware agents, which is if I'm a CSM, these are my accounts, this is the way I handle certain things.
Mhm.
Having
Yeah.
agents very context aware so
Yeah.
that it can obviously not replace me, but then when I'm away, it can kind of take
Mimic
the
you a
load.
bit. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly, right? And I can actually go in and tweak it where I can say, hey, this is the playbook I would run for, let's say, a long tail customer.
Mhm.
Um, and this is what I would do if this customer, shows signs of churn.
Yeah.
And then I can set that up and duplicate it and I can experiment with it because I think eventually people will stop treating long tail customers as long tail customers and high value customers as high value customers. It'll just be customers, and how
Right.
can we give all of them a good uniform experience? Because you never know that long tail small account 2 years from now or even a year from now can be an enterprise account.
Right.
So you don't know
Yeah.
what's there. So I definitely feel using AI agents there, but context aware ones would make sense.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Well,
Yeah.
I love that. I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
And Genevieve, you are breaking into the Middle East market with Kale.
Yeah.
What are some of the ways that you are thinking about effectively entering and scaling in this market?
I think given that there's so much similarity just in terms of, with the India market as well, I think absolutely the first one is just partnerships, right? um, and making like good partnerships who really understand where we are coming from, and there's really great synergies as well, because it's not just about getting in there and selling our solution in a siloed way. It's just not going to work because I think end customers don't care whether you use one tool or five or seven. They just want a very smooth revenue motion. So I think definitely making key partners is one. I think I definitely will kind of come down there and spend some time there and set up time for one-on-one meetings.
Nice.
Um, I
Yeah.
feel like this is just the best way to get insights. Like it's something we're doing locally right here, and we come back from these meetings with just so much more insights. And it's also just nicer to meet human beings and people face to face, right? Like now that the pandemic is over. So I think those are two key ways we're looking at it. And I'm excited to see how that pans out because I think the Middle East is an amazing opportunity.
Yeah. It definitely is. And I mean, there's just so many companies looking to break into the market. So it's interesting to hear your strategies and doing so. And I know you guys are already making some really nice headways within the region. So that's awesome to hear.
Yeah.
Um, Perfect. So this is a really good conversation, and I think kind of just understanding that aspect of customer success that you guys really focus in on with that kind of in-app the engagement piece of it, and how AI and all these things kind of trickle in is super exciting. I have a quick question, and then we kind of typically wrap things up with a section where we do some quick fire questions and answers. Which we'll jump into. But I have just a quick question before we jump into that section, which is kind of my favorite to wrap things up with.
Yeah.
But when you look at kind of from a technology standpoint, right? Where do you envision kind of the type of technology that Kale offers, which in-app engagement AI, fitting
Yeah.
in with the overall tech stack of DSPs and then just in general CRM and everything? How do you think kind of the tech will evolve in general when it comes to CS here moving forward?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I think where we stand in terms of Kale is we really want to integrate with um, the CSP, or some folks are still using CRMs like HubSpot or Salesforce to basically run their customer success. They believe in that. So we basically work with CSPs or CRMs just so that we can solve very deeply and very well just for the engagement bit of it. We do in-app right now, but we're also looking at other channels eventually,
Right.
right? Like multi-channel approach. So I think that's we stand. And I think in terms of what does the CS tech stack look like, I think it's just going to be these core things, right? One single place, um, like a CSP where basically you'll have, I think more than a CSP, I think it'll have like all of these different sources of data because I think one key thing that going forward that will happen is a lot more collaboration between different teams. So you'll have marketing, you'll have sales, you product, and this is how we've built Kale as well for it to support this collaboration. And obviously, if you have someone from marketing come in, they would want data only in context to what their role is, right? They're not going to come in and see the CS dashboard and understand it, and then they're not going to take the time to sit and reconfigure it.
Right.
So
Yeah.
definitely something that's versatile enough that it's able to break down these silos and it gives every persona the view that they want. And then Kale is basically just the actionable bit, right? Like I've seen this, I'm a marketer, I want to push out an in-app notification about an amazing webinar that we're running for a particular set of customers who are just going to convert from freemium to paid. I can do that, Kale.
Yeah.
So I think that's why Kale is a very good complement to the CSPs and CRMs out there.
Yeah, no, that's great. Awesome. Very, very good. Super interesting stuff that I think this across the board that we're learning from today. So awesome. So let's get to the last section. This is one of my favorite sections. What we do with our guest, Jahnavee, and what we'll do is some quick hitters, and then I'll start us off with a couple that I always ask, and then I know I'm always excited to wrap up with a couple of ones that she thinks about. So all right, let's start out easy. Tell us kind of your favorite content right now, the podcast, whatever it might be. What's your favorite content right now?
Oh,
Because
I'm very old school. I'm definitely books in the
books, yeah,
sense like books with pages, not even like a Kindle or something. So yeah,
yeah.
books.
You like totally good booking. Yeah. Any favorite books?
I mean, I don't have a favorite genre. Like sometimes I'll just read like science fiction. I'm
Mm,
reading The Feminine Mystique right now. It's one
yeah.
of the early definers of the feminist movements. I'm very excited for that. So yeah, books all the way. For me.
Awesome. All right, cool. All right, next question then. Can you give us kind of your favorite person to follow, get inspiration from, anyone you would recommend, or any people you would recommend there?
I honestly know because like I don't really follow one particular person. I feel like there's just so many people doing amazing stuff on LinkedIn right now. But I think more than that, when I just go through my day, right, you never know who's going to inspire me. Like, we hired a new intern 2 days ago, so I just met him and took him out for ice cream, and he was telling me some really cool stuff. Like, he was like, "Why don't we do this? Why don't we do this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, these are really good ideas." So,
Yeah.
uh, I just think
Well,
like you made it every day. Yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, definitely. There's a lot of times where you kind of get inspiration and learn and get
yeah.
to know new perspectives. So that makes a lot of sense. Okay, perfect. And then my last one for you is kind of if you should pick one thing, summarize it, or kind of high level. What's your favorite prediction for 2025 as we're kind of starting off the year here?
Yeah, I think there's like a lot of innovation, and I'm very excited for just how different people are using AI in different ways for solving some really cool stuff. But I'm also very excited from a very selfish POV because I know that with so much AI saturation, there will also be this yearning to talk to people and physical connections,
Yeah.
and also just no, I want to talk to a human being. I don't want an agent to solve this, no matter how good the agent is.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for both of those things. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's very cool. Yeah.
Awesome.
I was just saying on that. I think everyone also recognizes that in their own life. Sometimes try and get help with some support thing, and it's the AI chatbot agent. It's a human customer support. Just give me the right person to talk to.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think we're all seeing that. Awesome, Ivy. Go ahead.
All right. Okay, Genevieve, this is by far my favorite question to ask in the podcast.
Sure.
So, what is one life philosophy you like to live by?
Um, I think I have two. It's okay if I say two.
Yeah,
They're super
Of course.
short. I think one is don't take yourself too seriously because it's just not worth it, right? Like at the end of the day, life is meant to have fun and the small things, the little bits of joy, having a really good cup of coffee. It's strawberry season in Chennai for us right now, so enjoying the last of strawberry season, watching my dog chase a butterfly. I mean, those kind of things. So yeah,
yeah,
I think I don't really have any other major philosophies. Just enjoy the ride, I guess. Yeah.
I
That's
love
great.
that. I love that.
Yeah.
But wait, you said you had two. Which one is the second one?
Yeah, I think it's don't take yourself too seriously. And
And
also
Yeah.
enjoy the
just
ride. Yeah.
I enjoy the ride. Yeah.
Yeah, enjoy the small moments. Especially, I didn't ask you, Genevieve, are you a mother?
No, I have a dog which I'm very maternal to.
That that's close to that's close to it. That's close to it.
Exactly.
But
Yes.
yeah, I see that with like animals and also with children. They have this way of being so present and doing the silly things and bringing your attention back into the enjoying the small moments that are really the ones that count. So
Yeah,
yeah, I agree with you.
absolutely.
And Janavi, lastly,
Mhm.
when you're not at work, where can people find you? What are you up to on the weekends?
So I love to swim. So I'm usually out swimming or haunting a bookshop somewhere. I'm also writing my own science fiction novel. So I'm doing that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Uh,
And
That's interesting. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And me and my husband love to do road trips. So we just bundle our dog into the car and we kind of drive up and down the coast. And yeah, those are kind of things that I do. If people want to reach me, I mean, I have an Instagram handle called Unladylike. I'm on Twitter, though I don't use it very actively. And of course, I'm always on LinkedIn. Just DM me. That's a good place to reach me.
Amazing, amazing. Well, you're a woman of many hats.
Yeah.
And it looks like you're good at all of them.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I look forward to that sci-fi book whenever you have it ready and published. I'll definitely grab a copy.
Absolutely.
Amazing, awesome, Jahnavee. It's been such a pleasure having you on today's episode. Learned a ton, and yeah, again, really a pleasure. Thanks for joining us and spending some time with us today. And yeah, we look forward to the next one. Hopefully, get you on in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. It was so nice chatting with the both of you. Have a really nice day.
Thanks.
Thank you, Janavi. We want to thank our sponsors for supporting the Sussex Revenue podcast. RevSetter is the #1 customer success and management platform in the Middle East region, offering global capabilities mixed with regional solutions that helps your CS, account management, and go-to-market teams 10x efficiency, improve customer experience, and turbocharge customer retention rates.
And thank you to Medlify, a leading marketplace. Workers and employers in the healthcare space needs and demands meet to create benefits for both sides. Thank you again, and we'll see you next time.